As you should all know at this point, space is terrifying and specifically terrifies me. We have explored so little, meaning there is so much out there that could potentially kill us, whether it be rogue planets or undiscovered extraterrestrial life. However, many folks have the same fear as me, or at least the same idea, even writing about these creatures in some of the most iconic stories ever written. So today on Top 5 Scary Videos, I'm going to be counting down our list of the top 5 terrifying space monsters in literature. Before we begin though, be sure to stick around until the end of the video where I'll be responding to some of your comments. And with that, let's jump in. Coming in at 5, Pennywise from It. Also known as It, Pennywise is an ancient alien eldritch monster and the main antagonist of Stephen King's novel of the same name, as well as the subsequent TV show and movies. It is a shape-shifting creature known as a glamour, who is billions of years old. Although it lived on Earth for many years, it originated in a void dimension outside of the regions of space known as the Macroverse. Due to its shape-shifting abilities and being from another universe, its real name and species are called deadlights, but few know this, which is why it is referred to as It. Its true physical form on Earth seems to be that of a female spider, living deep below the fictional town of Derry, Maine. It can morph into any other person, animal, or object, with this ability being useful for appearing as a target's loved ones or friends to manipulate them or lure them into a trap, as well as appearing as the target's worst psychological fear. However, as most will know, its favourite form is that of a circus performer named Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Its primary goal is to feed on humans, generally preferring children over adults, since they were easier to scare and manipulate. According to the creature, frightened flesh tastes better and uses fear to salt the meat. Yum. Coming in at number 4, Zurg from StarCraft. Look, I know this is a video game, but it is just too good to leave off our list, so I'm including it, so there. StarCraft is a military science fiction franchise owned by Blizzard Entertainment, with the series set in the beginning of the 26th century and centers on the galactic struggle for dominance among 4 species: Terrans, Zerg, Protoss, and Xel'Naga. However, it is the Zerg that we're going to be discussing today. The Zerg swarm is a terrifying and ruthless amalgamation of biologically advanced arthropodal aliens dedicated to the pursuit of genetic perfection. The Zerg relentlessly hunt down and assimilate advanced species across the galaxy, incorporating useful genetic code into their own. They are named the Swarm simply because of their ability to rapidly create strains and the relentless assaults they employ to overwhelm their foes. According to the game's history, Amon Xel'Naga discovered the original Zerg on Zerus. The fallen Xel'Naga directly intervened on the Zerg's development to gift them with the purity of essence, making them the counterparts of the Protoss, gifted with the purity of form. The Zerg and Protoss were intended to eventually merge to form a hybrid army for Amon. Following this, the Zerg species diverged into 2 distinct branches: the Zerg swarm that had been altered and the primal Zerg that managed to avoid the tampering of Amon Xel'Naga. Alongside the Protoss and Terrans, the Zerg stand as one of the 3 dominant species of the Milky Way and are universally feared, hated, and hunted as such. The swarm in itself makes up a third of the power of the Koprulu sector. Zerg remain in areas of the galaxy outside the Koprulu sector. Coming in at number 3, Tanker Bugs from Starship Troopers. Starship Troopers is a military science fiction novel written by Robert A. Heinlein, which is set in a future society ruled by a world government dominated by military elite, referred to as the Terran Federation. Now, Tanker Bugs exist within the universe of Starship Troopers, both in the book and film, and they are absolutely terrifying. They resemble a giant beetle and play the role of tank/armors of the Arachnid forces who fight against the mobile infantry. Tanker Bugs are black in color and are nearly as large as plasma bugs. They have evolved the ability to spray a stream of flammable, corrosive liquid from its head. The tanker will eject fuel from a nozzle-like spout at the top of its head, and their thick exoskeleton provides them with excellent protection, though not immunity, from rifle rounds, allowing them to take a beating before before being killed. Now, in the Roughneck Starship Troopers Chronicles, tanker bugs are the size of houses and breathe fire as their main offensive weapon. Although they don't move quickly, their ability to tunnel underground allows them to pop up unexpectedly in the middle of battle. Coming in at number 2, Yeerk from Animorphs. The Yeerks are the main antagonists of the Animorphs series and are a parasitic species of slug-like creatures who require host bodies to see, walk, and verbally communicate. They have made it their mission to search the galaxy and enslave other species. According to the character Cassie, I quote, "Yeerks and parasites. A Yeerk enters a host through the ear canal, flattens itself out on the brain and takes over completely. The host creature can't scratch an itch unless the Yeerk wants it to. We call a being who has been taken over that way a controller. You must be thinking the Yeerks are pure evil, but let me tell you what it's like to be a Yeerk who isn't in a host. Yeerks are basically grey slugs, no hands, no legs, no eyes, no ears. If a Yeerk wants to be free to really move, free to see the beauty of the world around it, free to hear music or even the sound of rain on leaves, if a Yeerk wants that, it has to have a host. If a Yeerk wants to be free, it has to make another living creature a slave. Not an easy choice, is it? In their natural state, Yeerks live in lakes of sludge known as Yeerk pools, and every 3 Earth days Yeerks need to leave their host body to enter the Yeerk pool and absorb Kandrona. Kandrona is naturally produced by the sun on the Yeerk homeworld, but Yeerks have developed artificial Kandrona ray sources, which allow them to travel away from their planet. Without Kandrona, a Yeerk will die. The Yeerks run their civilization as an empire ruled by a Council of 13. Under the Council of 13 are numerous visors and subvisors who work primarily independent of each other and often run into petty squabbles. Cunning is highly prized and rewarded among Yeerk military. To quote Cassie again, "I reached out and gently rested my fingertips on squishy flesh. I closed my eyes, focused, and then DNA of the Yeerk became a part of me. The Yeerk became a part of me." And finally coming in at number 1, The Thing from Who Goes There. Who Goes There is a science fiction novella written by author John W. Campbell Jr. under the pen name Don A. Stewart. The book of course inspired the classic John Carpenter horror movie The Thing, which is actually a remake, but it is Who Goes There that we're going to be talking about today. The classic tale is based at an Antarctica research camp that discovers and thaws the ancient, frozen body of a crash-landed alien. The creature revives with terrifying results, shapeshifting to assume the exact form of animal and man alike. As you would expect, paranoia ensues as a band of frightened men work to discern friend from foe, and destroy the menace before it challenges all of humanity. The Thing is of course the antagonist, a malevolent shapeshifting alien creature. It is extremely hostile and appears in every iteration of the Thing's story, including the books, movies, and video games. The Thing's shapeshifting nature means that the biology can be the same as the organism it has replicated and has the ability to reconstitute itself following immense damage. Not to mention, it is invulnerable to most forms of attack. However, it is vulnerable to fire and potentially molecular acid since they both destroy the creature at a cellular level. It is incredibly tolerant of the cold, placing itself in cryogenic stasis until found by unsuspecting victims, which is exactly what goes down in Who Goes There. When the Thing changes form, it bursts open and allows a variety of strange and terrifying forms and bits of previously assimilated anatomy to form, such as tentacles, insect-like limbs, eyes, teeth, claws, even faces. Interesting fact for you horror fans out there, it has been speculated that Who Goes There was inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's novella At the Mountains of Madness, in which an Antarctica research team uncovers a cryogenically preserved elder thing which thaws out and attacks them. The more you know. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? Were there any space monsters that we missed? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, perhaps we can do part 2. Before I go though, I just want to respond to a few comments from one of our last videos. Top 5 scary horror movies that are illegal part 2. Austin Correa said, "Another great video by the Pale Queen, bow down. No seriously, do it or she'll tear out your soul. Ain't that the truth? Get down on your knees, otherwise you did." Holly Shively said, "Oh my god, I argued with my husband over the whole faces of death, traces of death thing dozens of times. Thank you for proving my side, Lucy. I mean, it's just facts. Faces of Death was fake, Traces of Death was real." 540 said, "Lucy is my hero. I'm my hero too." James Vance said, "Hey Lucy, you're showing movies I never knew existed. Thanks and keep up the freakiness. Long live the Lucifers." Well shucks, thank you. I'm glad I get to present you all with some new movies. Go out and watch all the illegal ones. I don't care. I've seen them all. And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary vid. Until next time, see you later.